Perfect.
Yeah, so as I said in the message before, I think since I've been verified, um, I think, I don't know, like I've just been getting really crazy messages, like, and just crazy, people saying crazy things to me. So today, in that video that I posted where the girl killed those two people and she's been real nonchalant about it,
It's insane, isn't it?
oh, it's blown me away. And what's blown me away is this guy's comment. He said, "How can you be blaming this on the girl when it was the car that killed those people?" I said, "Are you being serious? Or, like, you do understand that she is in control of that car under the influence, so she is very much at fault here, you know?" And she said, "No, it's definitely not. This is violence done by the car." And I'm like, oh, I wrote under it, I said, "I literally have no words for you now, sir." Yeah, I was blown
The
away.
funny thing is with all this sort of stuff, like she clearly was on something too. That's not
Oh,
just alcohol, right?
yep,
She's off her head.
yep.
Because I saw an original one where the police was just talking to the girl and everything. I don't know if you put it up or someone. I saw it somewhere,
Yep.
and I was shocked with it. I'm like, this girl is clearly fried on something.
Yep.
She didn't even know she couldn't comprehend what had happened.
That's what blows me away. Like, he literally says to her, "You've just killed two people, your car is totaled." And she's like, "Yes, I
Yeah.
understand that, but am I going to be able to go to work on Tuesday?" And he's like,
School.
yeah.
Was it school or work?
Oh, school.
School,
No, I think
yeah.
it was school, yeah. And
Yeah,
and
Tuesday.
the cops like, we are done, you know. It just blew
Yeah.
me away. And so, because we are going to post this, I'll just say that is the Stephanie Malaga. I don't know how to pronounce it, but I do have
Malaga.
yeah, something like that. And so I do have the video on my TikTok and on my Instagram, and it's a really recent video that's copping a lot of attention all the way across the internet. I've seen it a few places now.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's blowing me away.
One thing, like I wouldn't mind having a bit of a chat about this because I love watching all the body language analysis and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
I watch these four guys that are on YouTube, and they're top body language experts.
Yep.
And they break down a lot of videos and everything like that. And with her, it's very interesting because, like, when the cop says, she asks if she can go to school, and that's when he says, your car's been totaled.
Yep.
You've killed two people tonight. You're going to be going to jail for,
Yep.
And she goes, "No, but I just want to check, like, whether I can go to school." And he goes, "You're not going to be going to school tomorrow."
Yeah.
And he goes, "No, not tomorrow. Like, I want to know if I'm going Tuesday."
I know, and the nonchalantness.
There's nothing.
Nothing
There's
at
nothing.
all. No. And that's why people have said in the comments, and maybe she was given a brain injury in that. I mean, which is quite possible, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just blown me away at how, and what's more crazy, do you know how long that girl got?
No.
14 years.
Jeez.
So, and as you know, in America, if you kill someone, you are getting life, and life in America is 25 years. So,
yeah,
that blew me away as well, because I've really been...
Something's up with that.
Yeah, and they said she only got that long because she pleaded guilty. Well, she didn't have a choice. She could not plead not guilty.
Yeah.
That was her only option.
Yeah. It's a very it's a scary little or interrogation or whatever you want to call that sort of thing, because just the fact that, and I don't know, some of those moments I almost feel sorry for that person.
Me too. I did
they're
too.
Not there.
Yep, I did too.
Like, she's obviously done something wrong. I don't know I go back to, I don't know the behind the scenes of what happened before that. Did she just go out and get on recreational drugs and whatnot?
Yeah.
And then do that, and then yes, it's her fault, or is there some foul play here or something? Because I don't know, where is she from? Do you know where she's from?
Yeah, so it actually, I don't. Well, it is American. I don't know the state. It does say something's telling me Sacramento.
Yeah.
But what's really crazy is I've got another video I'm going to post later or tomorrow, and it's actually, she's still in her car. she's still sitting in her car, and it's the police's body-worn camera. And
Yeah.
and if you thought that her nonchalantness was bad, then like it's actually not even that. It's naivety. So the cop said, I'm going to need you to get out of the car. You've killed 2 people, and she's basically saying, No, I didn't. I'm not getting out of the car. And the cop's like, Are you being for real? And like says like, Are you on something right now? Like, and then the way she started singing when she said, I can't handle silence.
Yeah.
I'm just going to start singing. Like, you can guarantee you that sealed her fate in court. Like, stuff like that, the judge would have went, what remorse are you showing?
And that's the funny thing, because there is no remorse, and you would have to be a stone cold, absolute narcissistic psychopath.
Yep.
To be like that. And I don't think she is.
No, I don't think so either.
I really think there is.
Yeah, I think she might have hit her head or look, let's face it, some people that in my experience, some people that come from like not all, but like, people that are really, really, really wealthy and most of the time they've got like spoiled shit kids, like I'll use like politicians' children. They usually turn out rebelling against their parents, all that. I think maybe she was just come from, a big monetary background, and maybe because what I've found, and even talking with some people like that, like I just think that they don't have the same, don't look at life the same way we do for some reason.
Yeah.
And I don't mean that in any like, I don't mean everyone who's got money. I just mean there's a certain type of people when they get to like X amount of money, it's like nothing else in the world is important,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, look, I mean, that's true. But even if you look at the recent case, I'm trying to think of his name, Alec Murdoch.
Yep,
who,
good one.
If you look at that, right, this is a guy who's gone and killed his son and wife.
Yep.
And still, I mean, he I don't know if you looked into everything to do with that, but, top sort of lawyers and everything in that town. He's goes right up from his grandparents.
They passed
firm,
it down.
Sort of stuff.
They've had the law firm for hundreds of years or something. I watched it on Netflix, I think.
Yeah. So like that's someone that's basically come, from a lot of money, can get away with anything because they are the law.
Yeah.
And he still knew. Like if you look at when the police came and how he was acting, and look, he did a lot of things wrong, but at the same time he was still aware that something, that you could see that he knew he'd done something wrong.
Yeah, definitely.
The police picked up on it straight away.
All over him, yeah.
Guilt.
100%.
Yeah.
I'm just going to turn my heater off, Nick. One sec, mate.
Yeah, mate, go for it. I'll just keep talking to myself for a little bit because when that happened. You see in the police case, straight away the police actually know that something's up with him because he's not acting right while he's in the car. The things that he's saying, he's not crying. He's talking about other stuff that's not relevant. And these guys that I watched, one interesting thing that like people that are lying and everything do is they'll actually give you a lot of information about something that's really insignificant. So, for example, in that case, he'll say, what I did was I went up to the house and I got it changed. And then I came down the stairs and then I went to my mother's place and then I was there, and then when I came back, all I saw was the dead bodies.
Yeah.
And it's almost like, do you know what I mean? So you've given all this information about where you were in the house, what you did, you came down the stairs,
exactly.
Every little nitty-gritty detail. And then when it comes to the thing that you actually should have the information on,
you've got nothing.
You walked in and you'd be like, oh my God, I came down and, I was in the shed and all of a sudden I see my son over here, my wife is over here, there's blood everywhere.
Yeah.
I don't know, you
the worst time of your life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, so with that girl, there's nothing. There is absolutely nothing in that, so it's scary.
Yeah.
It scared me a little. And I think as well, because like, I know mental health too well. Like I've got a brother that suffers with mental health and everything, delusional schizophrenia and everything. So, I kind of understand and I'm compassionate about someone because I don't know the circumstance. And if they just came out and said, look, we've done all the tests, she's fine and everything, obviously you'd feel a different way about it. But I can't say anything at this point.
Well, and you're right, absolutely. But someone else did touch on something, and they're probably a little bit right. Now, if they are right, it means that she's probably a lot more smarter than we give her credit for. But, like, as you know, America has different laws for their diminished capacities and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And it really, really, if you kind of go back and have a look, it kind of seems like she is saying all the right things that would kind of put her in that category,
Yeah, you're right.
But it didn't, and yeah, and she actually ended up pleading guilty, which, rightly so. But 14 years is like, especially in America where the excessive sentencing is a big thing, and that family must just think, all right, so my family member got 7.5 years and the other family member got 7.5 years, whereas if she had ran down the street with a rifle and done it, she'd never get out of jail. There's not really much difference if you're like behind the wheel of a car drunk or drugs or whatever. Like it's the same thing, isn't it?
It's still a weapon.
100%.
The weapon. Yeah.
Yep.
Anything that's more powerful than your fists, even your fists are a weapon. Like I've done some training, and you know yourself that you can become a weapon.
Yep, absolutely, and they use it very often these days too. So, I used to think it was what you're saying was just a myth. I'd always used it because every Hughes kind of does boxing as boys, and so we all did it. All my cousins done it. We used to all go together, and so we all learned how to fight pretty young on, and then. It wasn't until funny story, I actually got charged by my old boxing trainer who was a detective in town. It was a police gym where I used to train.
Yeah, right, yeah.
And he went right on with it. He was like, no, you are not getting away with this. Like, I was literally one of the people who taught you how to fight, so I know you know how to fight. And they brought it up in court and everything, And I think I'm lucky that it was boxing and not... like say with karate or where you have belts and like there's like a level. I think I was lucky that I was amateur at the time and like but it's and now that I was a shithead, I think it's good they do that. What's that? Sorry, mate?
Definitely. I was going to say, I think it also comes down to how many years and everything you've been doing it for, and
absolutely.
That's the thing, and I trained with Sam Solomon.
Oh, really?
I trained...
Legend.
Yeah, I trained with... he's an absolute legend.
Yep.
And I trained with Stan the Man's brother, George Longanides.
Oh, wow. Hey, those two people you just said, I met them both in prison. They came and done a chat in jail.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, so...
I'll tell you a funny story about George. So I used to train at a place in Greensboro here, and I ended up, one of the girls that I knew from there was then moved over and started training with George.
Yep.
And she was training up for a fight, and she said, look, not many of the guys there really know how to spar with a girl. Like, they either go too hard or too soft. They just didn't know how to sort of do it. Do I mind coming down and doing some sparring with her? And I'd just started my mobile massage business at the time, and it turned out I actually had a job right near the gym on one of the nights. I said, I'll come down. I did my job. They'd already done their training, and then they were going into sparring. So I'm thinking, here I am just going down to spar with her.
Yep.
So I get there, meet George. He goes, do you need to warm up or anything? And I'm still thinking, no, I just have to spar her. Like, not to be mean or anything, but like, I'm 80 kilos, she's 50. So I don't need to warm up.
Yep.
This is going to be a walk in the park for me. And, I didn't even put my wraps on, nothing. I just put gloves on, singlet, shorts, and I was ready to go. He puts me against his best guy. And just to throw in another point, I actually hadn't trained for about 8 months then, because I gave up kickboxing when I started my massage clinic of my business, because I just couldn't afford to have injuries while I was on crutches while I was doing student clinic and stuff. So I thought, right, I've got to give this away and take work seriously. Anyway, so I started sparring, and I'm a bit rusty and everything. This guy right hooks me to knock my head off, and I'm like, right, I'm being tested here. Like this is,
yeah.
you know. Anyway, within 30 seconds, this guy's on the ground. He can't get up, and so then George puts me against his next best guy, and this guy's throwing these roundhouse kicks and everything. And I'm the type of person. My trainer used to hate it as well. If someone kicks me or hit me, I end up closer to you. You know,
Yep.
I'm smaller. I got to get in there. So my
Yep.
mentality is come as close to you as I can. This guy's trying to kick me and push me away, and I'm not going away. And
Yeah, nice.
so then I did 5 rounds with my friend, and she ended up not being able to walk afterwards, just from me checking her kicks, not from me kicking her, nothing.
Yep.
Me just defense. You know, I'm going lighter on her because I know she's got a fight coming up. You're not going to go too hard with that.
Yep.
And then afterwards, George comes up and he goes, Nick, I don't want any money here. He goes, maybe we swap massages for training. He goes, but I'm putting you in the ring. And I
Nice.
said, mate, what? Like, I wish I could take you up on it, but I've just started this path of, you know, my massage business and
Yeah.
everything, and I just can't, like, money-wise and everything, you know, there's not enough money in kickboxing. So
Yeah. Australia's really
I couldn't
crap
take
for
him
their combat sports like that, you know.
oh yeah,
They get, look how much, like, you know, but have you thought about doing it again, Nick? Have you thought about that's something you would do?
No, I had surgery on my abs, so I had a maybe 6 centimeter hernia in the front, like down the front of my abs.
Yep.
So I've actually got like a scar all the way down.
Oh, nice.
can
I've
see
got
that.
one of them too, Nick.
Yeah. So we're matching.
Yeah.
So, and that was from too much exercise.
Yep. Okay.
After that, I went back to Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu for a couple of years.
I love that. Yep.
And,
Best martial art.
that was also funny. So our club used to train with another club. And I said, like, I messaged the guy, like, do you think I'd be able to train a little bit, come down? So when we do kickboxing with him, he just started doing it. But this guy was like black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. So, but completely different thing. So he saw me as this higher up person in kickboxing. And I always just looked up to him anyway.
Yep.
And so I've come in and I've said, mate, like, don't tell anyone I've trained before. I've gone through this surgery and everything. BJJ's new to me anyway. Like, let me just come in as someone that's done nothing, you know. And I get there and he introduces me to everyone. He goes, you know, this is Nick. Don't be fooled by him because standing he can beat any one of us. I'm like,
Nice.
you arsehole.
Yeah.
I told you.
Exactly what you asked him not to do.
Yeah, the target was on my back, but I love BJJ because it was almost like it's like chess,
Yep.
and
Yep. Good way.
you've
Good
got
way
to
of
be
putting
really
it.
patient. Yeah, you got to be really patient. Wait for someone to make a move, so you might be able to get your leg out.
Yep.
And it's about staying limber, relaxed, and
Absolutely.
breathing.
Yeah,
know?
and it's a big thinking game too, like more so than, you know, like
Yeah.
all combat sports are, but I've also done a tiny bit of BJJ, and the only reason was, and I'll use this example, another prison example, but I was in jail and there was this guy who wasn't a fighter or anything like that, and this other guy was picking on him, and he folded this guy's arm like a pretzel. It was the craziest thing I'd ever
Yeah.
seen, and it took him like under 2 seconds, and I was like, mate, that is like one of the craziest things I've ever seen. Do you have any other moves? And he goes, yeah, no worries. He goes, look, you class yourself as a pretty good fighter, don't you? And I was like, well, yeah, I do, I suppose, you know. And he goes,
Yeah.
I bet you right now that you cannot get me to the ground, or you cannot. He goes, don't try and hit me. I'm not talking about hitting. He goes, but try and wrestle me and watch what happens, you know. And he
Yeah.
goes, look, the first time we do it, we'll start on our knees. And I said, yeah, all right, yeah, no worries.
Did you get a bit worried being in prison? Someone's saying we'll start on our knees.
Absolutely, yeah. But I had my shoes on, so I knew I was safe. Yeah, and he got me in this leg lock from behind. He'd done this thing where he kind of pushed my head down like that and grabbed, because I was on my knees, and then grabbed my leg from behind me and pulled my legs
Yeah.
out from under me and pulled me straight onto my chest. And then from that, it was game over. He flipped me over to my back, and
Yeah.
and I was like, whoa, 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 mate, you're gonna break my arm. And after that, I was like, you have got to teach me that stuff, mate. Like, and then so
Yeah.
like every time he was there, we'd spar, you know, and we done that every day for like 6 months until the security came in, because I asked the screws if they could take the boxing bag off the chain, and I had the boxing
So you
bag
can
on
use
the
it.
ground, and I was just doing some stuff with
Yeah.
it, and
Ground and
security
pound.
came in, and they
Yeah.
were like, no way, mate, no way are we going to let you practice this stuff, you know. And so they put a stop to it, and that was like, before that we were allowed to spar in the unit, everything, but after that they were like, yeah, no, these guys are training for something else, I think. And I
Yeah.
wasn't. I just wanted to know how he done that, so if someone came at me like I came at him, I could just go "Meh," and pretzel him like he did me.
Yeah. Well, you know, the other day when we were talking, and you were I was mentioned when you were on that live, and there was some kids on the roof or whatever.
Yep.
And that if someone just yells out, or if they grab, you know, a stance or whatever, that you know, or if someone says to you, "Look, mate, I'm trained. Like, you don't want to fuck with me."
Yep.
If you go to fight someone and they just lay down on the ground on their back, you walk away.
Yep. Yep. Absolutely. 100%.
Yeah. Just walk away.
Yep.
Yeah. That's not going to go well.
And that's funny, like what I told you then. What Nick's talking about is, like, sometimes in abandoned buildings I come across people that are in there as well, not doing paranormal investigations. And so one night I was at the abandoned asylum close to home, and I was walking through this underground bit, which is like it's like an outdoor area, but it's got a roof on it, you know. And then yeah, the footsteps just came right above me, and yeah, like I told you, and I kind of just I won't give away my secret too much, but like I've found in places like that, if you're the loudest guy, usually I am never
Yep.
the loudest guy. I'm the last one to say anything in any operation like that. Like, the less words, the better for me. But in those situations, the louder you are, the more likely you are to hear footsteps running away, you know? And especially in an abandoned, haunted building, the last thing you want to hear is someone deep voice yelling at ya, you know?
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, because I've come
But you know,
across...
the funny thing is watching that. Yeah.
No, you
Sorry
go.
to cut you off, mate.
No, you go.
I was just going to say, like, watching that there when you were, like, in that situation, I was thinking to myself, that's more scary than the paranormal stuff, you know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
paranormal, like, yeah, look, I think it can do things to you, but when you don't know where someone is and they might know where you are,
Yep.
you know, that's
Scary.
Because even when I'm talking to people, I was talking to a lady the other day that was talking about maybe a bit of a management role that she wants to take on with my comedy and everything. And while I'm talking to her, you know, like, I grew up a little bit rough on the streets as well. You know, maybe not to the extent of what you did, but my eyes are checking over her shoulder, like, while I'm talking to her.
Yep.
And she actually said to me, she goes, "Oh," because a guy walked past who he was a bit drunk and everything. And she goes, "I feel a bit safe around you, Nick, because you are watching everything that's going on." I said, "It's just in my nature. Like, I've grown up like that,
Yep.
and I've always sort of had to watch my back, and you know, so I'm always alert to what's going on." But yeah, when they can see you maybe, and you can't see them, that's like
Yep.
the scariest situation.
Yeah.
Because it's a double story.
I've had some good ones. I'll tell just a... can I say... Did you say you were going to tell a story, or you want me to tell a story?
No, you tell a story, mate.
Just a quick one. So, we had this joke. I don't know if you were there when the crack demon came. Like, the crack demon came, and so I was in the abandoned
I don't think
church,
so.
and we were walking out. We'd been there for hours and hours, and it was 3:45 in the morning. And so I'm walking out, and I've got my dog with me, and I've got my torch and all my equipment. And next thing you know, I hear this, "What are you doing?" And I was like, where did that come from? And I couldn't see anyone. And I was like, are you talking to me? And I couldn't see anyone. And they go, "Of course I'm fucking talking to you." And it was a lady. And she goes, "What are you doing in there?" And I'm like, minding my own business, which is what you should be doing. And then she came over at me, and like, my God, she had dinner plates like wow, like she was beaming. And
Yeah.
she's like, get out of there. How do I know that you're not stealing anything? I go, what am I going to steal from an abandoned church? You know, think about what
Yeah.
you're saying. I go, more to the question, what are you doing walking around the streets of Court to 4 in the morning in shorts and a singlet in winter? You crazy person.
What are you down at bloody Bojangles 9 months pregnant?
Yes. Yes. That's exactly who it was. Oh my God. Yeah, I've had some funny ones, Nick, that's for sure.
And so one thing I noticed since I've been following you, and you watch some of the other guys, they usually go with a couple of people. You're usually on your own. Like you've done a few with your mum.
Yeah.
I've seen. Is there a reason you go on your own more so?
Yeah, there is a bit of method to my madness there. So, as you know, like I call myself like a ghost magnet, a spirit magnet, and I have been my whole life. And so, and it's something I noticed as a kid. So, like, the paranormal was something that I never really used to tell anyone that I was right into because, like, you know, up until recent years, if you told anyone that, they would think you are a crazy person, you know?
You're a loony.
Yeah. And so, like, I really kept it to myself. But the main reason why I go with myself is because it's two. I have had a lot of difficulties, as you've seen, with, like, I say Karens, but people that turn up that don't want me to be there, you know? And I have had times where people have tried to fight me, you know? And I just think, how lucky am I? Because there's been a couple of times where I took my son as well, and the last time I took my son, he actually nearly passed out. And so I was like, we are never ever doing this again like that, you know? It's just not safe.
What was it what caused him to nearly pass out? Was it
So we're at a...
or activity or...
He was like, he started like, but he wasn't, this is what made me worry. He's like, he is not 100%, like, he's a little bit scared of the paranormal, like, not so much like me. He still has his reservations, you know? And, so we were at a cemetery. I was actually supposed to be going to an abandoned jail, but that actually fell through. So, I was like, oh God, I can't, like, you know, not do the live. We'll go to a cemetery or something. So I found an old cemetery. We went there, which was really good, but we started getting all this action, and he said, oh, Dad, I want to go wait in the car. And I said, yeah, you can go wait in the car if you want. I could see the car, so I didn't mind. He's 15. He's not a little boy, you know, and and he is 90 kilos. He is a big, he does look 18, but he's not, you know. And he said, oh, no, I might just wait here with you. And then that's when I realised he was a little bit worried. I could tell in his voice. And I said, look, just have a seat here, mate. I go, look, I'm going to go pack up all the equipment. I go, if you're not feeling right, we're not doing it. You know what I mean? Well, I'm not going to stay here and make you do it. So I went to pack up the equipment, and I was checking behind me. All the equipment was less than 50 metres away. And then as I was walking back, someone said, oh, is he on the ground? And I was like, oh, shit, he is on the ground. And so I went over there, and he's like, eyes wide open, and he's like hyperventilating, you know, and I'm like, right. And so I put everything down, and I just grabbed him. I needed to get him away from the cemetery, you know, and I even put him in the car and moved the car to the other side, and I said, look, mate, we're gonna sit here for a bit, and we're just gonna see if you're all right, you know, because obviously you know, I do class myself as a professional ghost hunter, paranormal investigator. And so I'm well aware of all the things that I should be looking out for. And, like, I guess I was thinking, like, what if he's got an attachment with a bad spirit, you know? And they will attach to people. They won't attach to me because they know that, well, they, like, you know, spirits like animals, I guess, can sense your fear in that too, you know. And so, like, I just don't get scared. I don't know why. I just never have. And but I could see it in him that he was scared, and I was worried that he might have an attachment. So then I had to pull the big guns out, things I don't necessarily use. Like, I generally don't involve God with my paranormal investigation for a reason. But there are some prayers that for some reason every time I've Saint Saint Christopher's prayer, Saint Michael's prayer, and there is another prayer, I can't remember the name of it, but I've got them all written down, and every single time I have used them, it is literally like, well, I can notice it, you know, you can see like spirits going, I'm out, you know what I mean? I can't deal with this, you know? Now, in saying that, I'm a firm believer...
1 second, mate.
Yep.
Sorry, mate, 1 second. Ethan? No plans tomorrow, mate. What's up? No, nothing. Why would he need? Okay. Sorry, mate. Sorry, mate, to cut you off.
No, you're right. You're right. Where was I?
We were talking about prayers, about there's a reason when you say the prayers that...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, I'm a firm believer of you can't be critical on something until you know enough about it to be critical on it, you know? So the Bible has always been something that's been a part of my life, but in different ways than your average family. So my dad is a devout atheist, but knows more about the Bible than most Christians or Catholics that I've met. And because of that, and then my mum told me that every time, my dad used to live pretty much the same life I did, except he was a lot nastier than I was. And she said every time we used to go to motels, he used to read the Bible. And Mum said, sometimes I would go to bed and I would wake up and he'd just be finishing the Bible, you know. He would get through it all. And so I kind of know the Bible back to front. I know the King James Bible very well, which, as you know, has got all Jesus's words in the red. And I just think that that's probably the most... I think, you know, people might hate me for saying this, but I think where the religion went wrong was when they went Old Testament, New Testament, and said we're going to change where things are, you know. And I think, well, hang on, that was a book that was actually written in stone. You can't change it, you know. So and so therefore I know a lot about the religion. I've actually read the Quran a lot of times too, the English version, and so I just find it weird that every time I use those prayers, it's almost like you can see, like you can definitely notice, like people always say about specks of dust and this and that around spirits because they do move the earth, you know? And definitely every time I do them, you notice things happening, like, and definitely the bad spirits are like, I don't want none of this, you know? And that works for me, and that worked for my son. So yeah, that's what happened that night, and that's a part of the reason why I don't bring people. And then because that time when I had my mum and we were at the abandoned abattoirs and the owners rocked up and they didn't know it was my mum, they thought it was two guys and started like, you know, being really nasty to my mum, and I was like, no, I'm not doing that to my mum again. But then the other reason is I class myself as a spirit magnet, and I believe when I have other people with me, it interferes with my investigation, you know. And for some reason, I don't have as much luck as I do by myself. So that's the only long answer, but that's the only reason.
No, it's very interesting, you know, and you wonder.
Be much appreciated if you could like, subscribe, and chuck a comment. Also, don't forget to tick that alarm bell so you don't miss out on your notifications. Thanks, guys.